Hello everybody, I'm Socksway Up and welcome back to our first playthrough of Highrise City. It's been a few episodes since we've done any expanding or laying down of new buildings. Last episode we went over detailing, and the episode before that we looked at taxes and laws. Everything so far is still new to us. Some of the new buildings that we've unlocked have some of the same mechanics as the other ones, so some of it has been rinse and repeat, but today's episode we're going to start off by just making sure all of our existing resources are where they should be. The town has been growing and we need to make sure that we're still producing enough goods to keep everyone happy. It seems to be a strange balance in this game. I know in Anno 1800, when I played that back in the day or a few years ago, when you'd unlock new tiers of citizens, you wouldn't have to add extra supply to something like fish. So you'd get to the point where you're just stable on fish and you don't ever have to worry about it unless you add that tier of citizen. This game, things like fish and fruit and vegetables are needed by everyone, so it seems like our food production needs to be expanding all the time. And you can see right now we're working on the balance of our furniture, so the first thing we had to lay down was some more buildings to add to our logs, so some of the lumberjack yards we were adding, and then we'll add a few more of the furniture shops so that we can get that production and consumption evened out. After that, it looked like people needed more clothing, so we added some more of the textile factories. That was something, again, that different tiers I think shouldn't really require it. Maybe there's a different type of clothing. I don't know. A lot of games are different. This one, it seems like you have to keep adding farms. Maybe at some point in the game you stop adding farms and you just grab those items through trade, and then you decide in your city what you want to do. But we got the textiles almost in a good spot, and then we move on to learning a little bit about some of the buildings that buff farms. There's an agricultural machinery factory that seems to have a good reward when you lay it down. It has a big range as we try to find it in the menus right now. There we go, we got that one. So we're gonna grab that, we're gonna place it somewhere in our grain field, and we'll see how much it'll actually increase things. It looks like farm productivity is gonna be by 50%, but maintenance is gonna be by 30%. Money doesn't seem to be an issue, so maintenance costs I'm not really concerned about. But we see the range here. We're going to try to figure out which one do we need the most of. It looks like grain is something we really need to kick up the productivity of. We were at 50, we're consuming 60. So that's something I wanted to increase. And before the building is built, you can see our production is 172 of these farms. So I wanted to see how high it would get once this building was available. So now it's there. We got some workers. Let's click on these farms, 258%. So at this point, we kind of realize what I just said a few minutes ago about having to constantly add farms maybe isn't accurate. We can use these buildings to buff the areas. So the next thing I wanted to do with that is see, you know, we're producing more than enough now, but we also need to consume a little bit more and get more bread coming in. So we're not quite there yet. So what I was thinking was, can these buildings stack? Can we add multiple buildings of these manufacturing or machinery, agricultural machinery factories, and get even more of a increase in productivity? We're gonna find out. I think it's kind of obvious, but I thought I'd try because, you know, science and all that is fun. It doesn't work. They do not stack. But we place it down anyways just to see what happens, and they stay at 258. There are a few buildings that are added to the range of this new one that were not in the existing agricultural so hard for me to say, agricultural machinery factory. So we keep that one anyways just to help buff these other farms around here. So our fruit, vegetable, and grain farms are, you know, kicking into overdrive. The next thing we want to do is the mayor needs a house. I need a house in the city, so we added the mayor villa. It's pretty cool. It's pretty sweet. We needed it. We'll add some other residential housing around it. He's not going to be by himself there. We're not going to have just a big plot of land just for the mayor. Definitely just going to use the tiles that come with the building. Kind of neat. I'm not sure exactly what it does to the city, but we have a house now, and we're going to add some other things. So the next thing we add is the bank, because we don't need loans, but I thought it was a cool building to kind of add to the, just to the skyline right here to keep on improving the skyline. I was trying not to be redundant with my words there, but yeah, so, you know, to add the building is kind of a larger bank building, so that was pretty sweet. The next thing I wanted to look at was increasing our coal productivity. Right now we're producing enough coal, but there's a few other industries that we need to get up and running that are going to need coal as well. We want to get into the steel, we want to get some more iron productivity, so we're going to need more coal because both of those need coal. So we get these 3 coal mines laid down, then we have to work on the roads to get access to this new island that we're building on for the first time. So we build out these roads to begin with, and then we get to learn about bridges. So far, we've just made straight roads or flat roads on land. I kind of skipped the video of that because it wasn't very fun. It wasn't very easy to make the bridge. There's some bugs in it, I think, and it looks kind of ugly, so we bypass that for now. Another annoyance of the game, in my opinion, there's some cool things that we show right here, but the ports, we added the larger port and it still only gave us 1 slot. I was a little upset with that, but I did figure out finally the little angle adjustment that you can do to these buildings. So you can adjust them with pushing the button here on the menu, or you can also go over and use M or N to rotate it left or right and get it to the perfect angle that you want, and then you can line your roads up to it after the fact. Pretty cool feature. Again, when I first started playing this game, I was just so excited to play. I wasn't even reading things. I was just putting buildings down, and it probably showed a little bit in the videos, but now we're slowing down a little bit, reading the screens a little bit more, getting more familiar with everything the game has to offer, and it makes sense. A lot of the things do make sense. You can see there's a lot of other games it was influenced by, but making it look a little bit more modern, and I think if they keep increasing and improving the graphics in this game, it's gonna be solid. And we didn't really need that port, but I wanted to lay it down to see if it actually gave us more than 1 slot, and it didn't. I hope that changes. The next thing we're looking at our engineers. We need toys, we need books, and we need meat. So we also wanted to unlock the next tier, so we're kind of balancing at this point growth versus making sure the happiness is completely there. There's some things I didn't want to just build industries. I wanted to actually kind of balance out growing the city at the same time. It seems really easy to just get locked in on focusing on the industries and your resources and forgetting to grow, because this is a city builder, but it's also, you know, an economic manager game. So there's a couple balances that we have to do there. But here we're cutting over to actually adding in our electrical area that we want the electricity to be long term. So I've talked about that over a few episodes. So we decided to move up north to that new island. Again, I'm not sure if it's going to stay there long term, but we're definitely cleaning up this main area to be able to expand and add more housing and more offices, as well as some of the industry. I wanted to get the electricity out of there and move it across the river just to free up some space here. It just didn't seem to make sense. So that's what we did. Ended up being able to remove every single thing of electricity, or every building of electricity on this side of the river, and move it across. And then we jump back into adding more residents. We definitely want to start pushing towards the next milestone. I'm very interested and very intrigued to see all of the different milestones and different types of residents that we get. It looks like there might be 5 tiers based on the amount of squares in the top left, where you can see 1, 2, and 3 right now. We'll see where we get at the end with that. But here again, textiles were becoming an issue as we grow, so we added more clothing factories, and we had to also produce a little more wool for that. So we got that taken care of. The furniture factory there looks like it was missing some resources, but now we have productivity at 21 and 21. Pretty solid. Not a huge amount of progress in this episode, but it was a start to get us going for the next few episodes, where we're going to start expanding. We're going to get into meat production. We're going to get into glass production, steel production. There's a lot of things coming to the city in the next few episodes. Definitely excited about it. Down the road in a few episodes, we'll have a major expansion episode as well, where we just add a ton of residents and try to unlock all those milestones, all the tiles, and see what is all involved in this game as we get closer. I'm guessing we're at about the midway point. I have no idea though. Maybe we're a little bit past midway, but I'm Socks Way Up. I'll catch you on the next episode of Highrise City.